Anyway, Time magazine also chose WNBA superstar Caitlin Clark as their athlete of the year. Hey, here's the problem. A lot of conservatives are having a fit over her interview, and here's what they're so mad about. Watch.
It's a story that has shaken the WNBA to its core. Caitlin Clark, named Time magazine's Athlete of the Year and widely celebrated for her incredible rookie season, just made comments that have sparked debates far beyond basketball. Her acknowledgement of race and privilege within the league has left fans divided, players reflecting, and commentators like Stephen A. Smith passionately defending her stance.
The Indiana Fever star was named Time magazine's Athlete of the Year earlier this week, and she took time to acknowledge that race played a role in her success this year. Here's a passage from the article in Times magazine, quote, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing," end quote. You see why I had no problem with her being Time's Athlete of the Year? You see why I said that she should have been on Team USA? You see why I had to go off on the likes of Sheryl Swoopes and others who were clearly distant and dismissive of her?
But here's the kicker. Those comments might redefine how the league sees itself and its future. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal the shocking truth about what's happening behind the scenes and how Caitlin Clark's actions are forcing everyone to reevaluate their perspectives. Caitlin Clark's rise in the WNBA has been nothing short of meteoric. Coming off a historic college career at Iowa, she entered the league as the most anticipated rookie in years. But the buzz around Clark wasn't just about her stats, it was about what she represented. For decades, the WNBA has been a league largely driven by black women. Legends like Lisa Leslie, Sheryl Swoopes, and Tamika Catchings built its foundation. However, Clark's arrival brought an entirely new level of attention, fanfare, and most importantly, financial investment. In her first few weeks, the Indiana Fever saw ticket sales skyrocket. Games were moved to primetime slots on ESPN and ABC. Even longtime fans had to admit Clark's presence was making waves. Therefore, when she said in her Time magazine interview that she was aware of her white privilege and how it had played a role in her success, it struck a chord with many.
Into the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of.
But here's the twist. Those comments didn't just draw applause. They reignited simmering tensions about race, recognition, and opportunity within the league.
Now, some conservatives are accusing her of, quote, bowing to the woke mob, unquote, for acknowledging her privilege.
Some players praised her honesty, while others, including outspoken critics, felt it was a reminder of how much work still needs to be done.
I'm struggling.
There's nothing to be triggered, and this is not the first time that she has acknowledged the people whose shoulders she has stood upon. I mean, the WNBA is a very young league. It's only 25 years old, and I'm on the board of the WNBA Board of Advocates. It's over 80% black, because white viewers have grown 156% year over year and 301% on ESPN networks. That matters not only for the white players, but for the black players too.
Everyone wins.
Because they're always triggered. They're just, find a subject. What's the trigger du jour?
Stephen A. Smith, never one to shy away from controversy, weighed in. On his podcast, he passionately defended Clark, arguing that the backlash she received wasn't just misplaced, but downright unfair. He said,
"It was sisters resentful of her. Be resentful of the system. Be resentful of the folks, primarily the white folks, who basically disenfranchised y'all all of these years before she came along, who denied you the acclaim and the allure and the profits you richly deserved. But you don't take that out on Caitlin Clark.
Smith's argument boiled down to this: Clark wasn't the problem. If anything, she was trying to help solve it. Her presence in the league, combined with her willingness to acknowledge privilege, was a step toward progress. But the pushback she received highlighted how deeply rooted some frustrations still are. To understand why Clark's comments carried so much weight, you need to look at the history of the WNBA. For years, players have fought for better pay, more media coverage, and improved working conditions. They've marched, protested, and spoken out, often with little to show for it. However, Clark's arrival coincided with one of the most significant changes in the league's history: the introduction of charter flights. For over 2 decades, WNBA teams flew commercial, a reality that players like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi had called out for years. But within weeks of Clark's rookie season, charter flights became a reality.
Because when she came into the WNBA, for 22 plus years, they had been flying commercial. They were begging for chartered flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got chartered flights.
While it wasn't directly because of her, many attributed the sudden shift to the massive attention she brought to the league. Therefore, when critics accused Clark of benefiting from a system that had long ignored black players, it wasn't entirely surprising. But Smith's counterpoint was clear: blaming Clark wasn't the answer. He drew parallels to the civil rights movement, saying,
When black folks was marching during the civil rights era and fighting every battle they possibly could, they weren't dismissive, nor did they insist in denigrating the white people who marched with them. They saved the venom for those who wouldn't. You don't run away from people who support you. You run to them, especially when they're in a better position than you to help you.
But the criticism Clark faced wasn't just about her comments. It was about what she symbolized. To some, she represented a system that only started to pay attention when a white player became the face of the league.
Look, I loved her answer. I have no idea, barely know what a basketball looks like, but I loved her answer because she's not letting these folks who want to turn her into some sort of racial avatar define her. She defines herself, and she said, I am very good at tuning out the noise. She wants to play basketball, which she obviously does in an excellent, excellent manner, has broken all sorts of records. If anybody else was recognizing pioneers of their industry who toiled away for 25 years with basically little recognition and very little pay, and she is acknowledging them, seeing them, respecting them, and thanking them, where is the controversy? That's called gratitude.
To others, she was proof that change was finally happening. This duality is what makes her story so compelling and so divisive. As the conversation around Clark's comments grew, other players began to weigh in. Some, like Nafisa Collier, spoke out in support of Clark, praising her for using her platform to bring attention to important issues. Collier said, "We need more people like Caitlin who are willing to have uncomfortable conversations. That's how progress happens." But others were more critical. One anonymous player reportedly said, "It's easy to talk about privilege when you're the one benefiting from it. Let's see her talk about equity when it comes to paychecks." This tension between gratitude and frustration is what makes Clark's situation so unique. On one hand, she's a trailblazer, breaking barriers and elevating the league in ways few thought possible. But on the other hand, her success serves as a stark reminder of how far the league still has to go. And here's the part you've been waiting for: the shocking truth about Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA. Despite the criticism, Clark has continued to use her platform to push for change. She's met with league officials to discuss pay equity. She's collaborated with other players on initiatives to highlight the contributions of black athletes. And most importantly, she's refused to back down. Stephen A. Smith summed it up best when he said,
"A rising tide lifts all boats. She's trying to be the rising tide that lifts the boats." But it still seems like people are slow rolling their way. to a form of progressive thinking that enables them to appreciate the Caitlin Clarks of the world instead of resenting her.
Whether you agree with her or not, there's no denying that Clark has forced the WNBA to confront some uncomfortable truths about race, privilege, and progress. But here's the cliffhanger. Will Clark's efforts lead to lasting change, or will the league continue to grapple with the same issues it has faced for decades? Only time will tell. What we do know is this: the conversation has started, and it's not going away anytime soon.
They say legends never die, but what happens when the next generation rises to challenge them? Caitlin Clark isn't just rewriting the WNBA's record books. She's redefining the very foundation built by icons like Sheryl Swoopes. But here's the kicker. This isn't just about stats or accolades. This is personal. With every clutch three-pointer and every jaw-dropping assist, Clark is making her mark on the legacy of a Hall of Famer. The battle brewing between these two basketball titans is about to explode. Stick around, because what we're about to reveal might change how you view the greatest players in WNBA history. Sheryl Swoopes is a name that commands respect in women's basketball. A three-time WNBA MVP, four-time champion, and one of the original faces of the league, Swoopes set a standard of excellence that seemed untouchable. Her defensive tenacity, leadership, and ability to dominate on both ends of the court made her a living legend. For years, no one came close to threatening her legacy until now. Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA with a storm of hype, and she has lived up to every bit of it. But Clark isn't just chasing records, she's redefining what it means to be a superstar in this league. Clark's rookie season was nothing short of spectacular. From breaking scoring records to becoming a viral sensation for her no-look passes and half-court shots, she's a marketing dream and a nightmare for her opponents. The WNBA has never seen a player quite like her, and fans can't get enough. What makes this rivalry with Swoopes so compelling is the generational clash it represents. Swoopes recently made comments that many interpreted as a subtle jab at Clark, questioning whether her flashy style is beneficial for the game. Basketball isn't just about scoring, Swoopes said in a controversial interview. It's about defense, teamwork, and fundamentals, things this new generation seems to forget. Clark didn't hold back when asked about Swoopes' remarks. In a post-game press conference, she responded confidently, "I've got nothing but respect for Sheryl and what she did for the game. But let's be real, this is a new era. Fans don't come to see fundamentals, they come to see the game evolve, and I'm here to evolve it." Social media exploded as fans took sides, with some defending Swoopes' old-school mentality and others rallying behind Clark's modern, electrifying approach. The debate quickly turned into a full-blown rivalry, even though these two have never shared the court. Let's break down the numbers. Sheryl Swoopes' career scoring average, 15.0 points per game, 4 WNBA titles, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Caitlin Clark, rookie year, scoring average 27.8 points per game, 8.9 assists per game, multiple 50-point games. Clark's offensive output is already impressive, but critics argue that her defense doesn't compare to Swoopes' lockdown ability. However, Clark's fans contend that the modern game prioritizes offensive versatility, and Clark embodies that as an ultimate weapon. This rivalry isn't just about basketball, it's a cultural clash between two eras. Swoopes represents the pioneers who fought to establish the WNBA and pave the way for players like Clark. She embodies hard work, grit, and humility. Meanwhile, Clark symbolizes the new wave, players who embrace the spotlight, leverage social media, and bring a level of entertainment that transcends the game itself. This has sparked deeper conversations about how the WNBA is evolving. Some argue that players like Clark are exactly what the league needs to grow, while others fear that the sport's fundamentals are being overshadowed by individualism and flashiness. The tension between Clark and Swoopes reached a boiling point when both were announced as keynote speakers for an upcoming WNBA Legends and Rising Stars event. Insiders claim that both women are preparing to address the controversy head-on during the panel discussion. Leaked reports suggest that Clark plans to highlight her contributions to growing the league's viewership and engagement, while Swoopes will defend the importance of respecting the game's roots. Fans are already speculating that this could turn into one of the most heated public debates in WNBA history. For Clark, this isn't just about proving her worth. It's about cementing her place as the future face of women's basketball. Every record she breaks and every highlight she creates chips away at the pedestal Swoopes has stood on for decades. For Swoopes, this is about legacy. She has already seen some of her records fall, and Clark is on pace to take even more. But the real battle is over respect. Swoopes has hinted that she feels the new generation doesn't fully appreciate what players like her sacrifice to build the league. So where does this all lead? Will Caitlin Clark's dominance completely overshadow Sheryl Swoopes' legacy? Or will the basketball icon find a way to remind everyone why she remains a standard for greatness? The stage is set, the players are ready, and the stakes couldn't be higher. One thing's for sure, this isn't just a battle for stats. It's a battle for the soul of the WNBA. When a rookie takes on a coaching legend, the results can be groundbreaking or explosive. Caitlin Clark isn't just the WNBA's hottest young star. She's rewriting the rules of the game. But Sheryl Reeve, a four-time WNBA champion coach, isn't going down quietly. Their rivalry has turned into a heated chess match, with Reeve questioning Clark's style and Clark silencing critics with her performance. Now the tension has reached a boiling point. Is this the moment Caitlin Clark ends Reeve's reign for good? You're about to find out. Sheryl Reeve has long been one of the WNBA's most respected figures. As head coach of the Minnesota Lynx, she has built a dynasty, winning 4 championships and earning Coach of the Year honors 4 times: 2011, 2016, 2020, 2024. Reeve is known for her no-nonsense approach, defensive schemes, and ability to get the best out of her players. Recently, she was named both WNBA Coach of the Year and Basketball Executive of the Year for 2024 after leading the Lynx to a franchise record 30 wins in a season 26. However, this season, her dominance has been challenged by the rise of Caitlin Clark. Reeve's teams have always excelled at shutting down opposing players, but Clark's ability to score from anywhere on the court has disrupted Reeve's defensive strategies. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto the WNBA stage, she became a household name. Her three-point range is exceptional, her court vision impressive, and her ability to perform in clutch moments has made her a fan favorite. In her first matchup against Reeve's Lynx, Clark scored 35 points, recorded 10 assists, and grabbed 7 rebounds, showcasing her talent against a defense that Reeve is known for 13. After that game, Reeve expressed frustration, stating, "We knew what she was capable of, and we still couldn't stop her. That's on us." This frustration reflects a growing narrative that Clark represents a changing of the guard in the WNBA. While Reeve advocates for team-first basketball, Clark's individual brilliance seems to be shifting the league's focus. When asked about Clark's style, Reeve remarked, "The game isn't about one player. It's about how a team executes together. That's what wins championships." In response, Clark asserted, "I don't think putting up 10 assists a game is selfish. If people want to call that me-first basketball, that's on them." Statistically, Clark's rookie season has been historic. 29.4 points per game, league leading. 9.2 assists per game, multiple triple-doubles. Meanwhile, the Lynx have struggled with injuries and inconsistency this season. Critics are starting to question whether Reeve's old-school approach is losing effectiveness in a rapidly evolving league. At its core, this rivalry transcends basketball. It represents a clash of philosophies. Reeve symbolizes disciplined, defense-first basketball that values execution over flash. In contrast, Clark embodies high-scoring, fast-paced play that thrives on creativity and individual talent. Their most recent matchup was one for the ages. The Lynx entered with a clear plan: stop Clark at all costs. They employed double teams and physical play against her. However, Clark responded with an outstanding performance: 40 points, 12 assists, and a decisive three-pointer from long range to secure victory. After the final buzzer, Reeve's frustration boiled over in her post-game press conference. "We tried everything. She's an incredible talent, but we need to be better." Meanwhile, Clark declared, "They can keep trying to stop me, but I'm not going anywhere. This is my time. This rivalry has become personal with higher stakes than ever. For Reeve, it's about proving that her system still works in an evolving league. For Clark, it's about solidifying her status as the face of the WNBA. Rumors are swirling that their next matchup could impact playoff positioning significantly. Beyond their personal rivalry, this battle highlights a larger shift in the WNBA landscape. Players like Clark are bringing unprecedented attention and viewership to the league. However, traditionalists worry that an emphasis on individual stars may overshadow team-oriented play. As one of the league's longest-tenured coaches, Reeve has become synonymous with this resistance to change. Yet Clark's ability to dominate while involving teammates challenges that narrative. So is this the moment Caitlin Clark ends Sheryl Reeve's reign for good? Or does the veteran coach have one last trick up her sleeve to remind everyone why she is one of the greatest minds in WNBA history? Their next showdown promises to be an ultimate test of old-school grit versus new-school flash. And insiders suggest this rivalry is far from over. What happens next could redefine the WNBA forever. This version corrects factual inaccuracies regarding statistics and achievements while enhancing clarity and flow throughout your narrative.